How's it going, guys? So today we are going to work at moving our molasses tank into place for the robot feed system. Just getting some stuff cleaned up and out of the way so we can make room for it. Just going to set right here. Got ourselves some space to work with now. We're going to be using our same molasses tank. We have a different pump though, because the pump we're currently using is 5 horsepower and it moves the molasses way too fast for the robot feeder. We're not going to be using that, but everything else we want to move over. Got some fork extenders, so we should be able to move it with our skid loader. Try to time it out. We got another load of molasses coming tomorrow. There's maybe 6 or 8 inches in this tank, so we're going to pump that out in a couple totes. Glenn from Zook's Molasses is going to be here soon. He's got a pressure washer with a long wand, so we're going to clean out the tank a little bit, and we'll be able to pump out. There's some solid cane sugars that settle on the bottom. We're going to get those cleared out. The molasses hose is currently zip tied to this auger. I'm going to take those off. We'll get that down into the tote a while. We've been feeding molasses for a long time. It's a good source of sugar. Helps the feed to taste a little bit better. The other thing it does is it kind of sticks to everything. Helps everything stick together so the cows can't sort as easily. The type of sugar it is supposed to be good for the rumen bugs as well. Thick stuff at the bottom of this tank. It's usually a little bit more liquidy than this. So they brought a pressure washer with a boiler on it. Just some hot water will help. The inside of the tank gets kind of stained, and then after a while you can't see the molasses level. Shined it up a little bit. Didn't get the walls completely clean. It's kind of tough, but cleaned a little bit there so we can see the level somewhat. Glenn actually just set up all the plumbing while I was doing something else. This is the pump. It's a little gear pump with a variable speed motor that's going to hook onto that. You just have this small hose then running up. Zip tied it straight to the one mineral auger. Runs in through the wall there to the mixer. So it's good to have that done. They're coming tomorrow to fill the tank up. So what we're working at now is trying to get these flux augers into the mineral bin pipes up above the mixer. This is the motor. We're going to mount this up there first, and then we're going to slide the auger in. We got both of these motors hanging on chains. Now we got to extend these 2 pipes a little bit. Seem to work out pretty well. Kind of cross over each other there in the middle, but they get nice and straight and parallel at the end. Now that we got the pipes all fastened together and the motor on, we're going to stick the auger in. It's like a regular auger, except there's no center core to it, so it has the ability to flex. Still works like an auger. We got the auger attached to the top end now, so to cut this we're supposed to cut it 3 inches back. Okay. It's the next day here. So as you can see, the robot's been driving through this area. They programmed this route 2 days ago, and they've been able to let it run, making sure everything's working with it. just the route down to the dry cow and heifer barns. And now today they're going to program the route that goes up towards the milking barn. They just drove our Juno feed pusher down to here because this has to be off. They need to move some strips around on the floor, so this won't be able to run anymore. After today, we're hoping to let the feeders just running as feed pushers for another week and a half or so until we can actually start feeding with them. We put this feed pusher in 7 years ago. It's been working really well for us. Could use a bath, but besides that, we actually have someone else that's going to be buying this and putting it on their farm, so it's going to keep getting used. This is where the Juno used to park. We're going to be able to take that board off there. It'll give us 3 more headlocks again. But these old strips the Juno used to use, they're going to take these out. They got to lay some different strips in for the feeder, so that's why the Juno can't work anymore. These are just reset strips, so it goes a certain distance, and then when it hits that, it knows exactly where it is. Here they got a new strip in. This feeder just took off to go push again. Just gonna drive down that way, do that barn first, and then we'll come back and do the dry cows. It's pretty cool to just see it take off on its own. We'll get a lot of chances to see this work. Dad's going to grab some triticale seed. We're gonna load the drill up again. We have about a quarter of our triticale seeded now over the last few days. It's a little dry. We haven't had rain in over a month, anything too substantial, so ground's pretty hard, but we're gonna keep going with it, hoping we'll get some rain the next couple weeks, get this stuff growing. Usually in the fall by now we're getting some good rains, but this year it's just been a little on the dry side. Gonna check and see how this drill is doing with getting the seeds into the ground. Ground's getting a little bit hard. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. There's a little bit of moisture there. Feels kind of familiar. This spring when we were planting this corn, the ground was hard. He's moving up to the next field. It is the next day. It's Friday morning. The robots are up and running right now, pushing the feed in for everybody. I don't think anyone's gonna be here today working on anything. They're going about every hour now, pushing the feed up. It's kind of nice. It's pushing in the feed for the special needs. We've never had that before with our other robot pusher. So next week the electrician's gonna be here to wire in the rest of the controls and the conveyors. At this point, we're not planning to start feeding next week. We're gonna start the Monday after, so that'll be September the 30th. It's gonna be a little bit of a pain for feeding towards the end of that because, as you can see, we're getting towards the end of this ag bag. Probably have about a week worth of feed. We're probably gonna run out of that slightly before the robot is starting up the 30th. Yeah, it looks like the end of next week we'll probably be opening up the silage silo. We're gonna start feeding out of that with our mixer for a little bit until we actually get the robot rolling. There's no real easy way to get the feed into the mixer out of the second silo. Right now we have our temporary elevator set up. We're able to get triticale into the mixer fairly easily because bringing it up that long conveyor, it's dropping down into this one and up. But once we want to use one of the other silos for silage too, then we're gonna have to put this elevator actually inside of that room and then drop it in right there where the feeders are normally gonna load. So what we got going on today, we're actually gonna start combining our soybeans. This is probably the earliest we've combined beans from what I remember in the past. These are at 2.9 maturity soybean planted the end of April. And with all the sunlight we've had this summer, they're ready to go from what I can tell. It's only mid-morning right now, and these are already probably ready to start cutting. So the way you test if soybeans are ready to cut, throw one in your mouth. If it cracks, then you know it's probably 14% or less. Dry enough to start combining. They'll absorb moisture from the dew overnight, and then they'll start to dry out in the sun during the day. So I think the combine will be here before too long. So we're gonna have to haul the grain into the elevator across the street. I don't know, we'll get some of our soybeans done today. Not all of it. It's nice to get them off early because we want to be able to seed some of the winter forage crop in after it. We hire the same crew to do our combining as does our chopping. We just filled up the drill again, and I'm gonna haul grain for a bit with the 4240. I guess plans have changed a little bit because I took these beans over there. The neighbors are actually working on something with the bins. I think we're gonna have a truck we can fill and the grain cart today, so we won't be taking them over quite yet. The moisture tester the combine had said 12%. So I parked that grain cart out in the field. He's gonna be able to fill that for now. My dad just called and said he had a flat tire. He's starting to drill at the other farm. We took those wheels to the tire shop to get changed. So this cart is full now. So we got the neighbor's truck. They got probably 1,000 bushel trailer on it. I'm just gonna be storing the beans in there. So he just has it parked in our driveway. The elevator's down for a little bit, but it won't stop us today. We got it working. I had to figure out how to unlock the hydraulics. This trailer's a little tall, so it barely reaches over the edge. So Dad's running again now with the drill. I need to feed cows soon. Go empty that cart again into the trailer. He's got a 30-foot head on it, so 12 rows at a time. Seem to be yielding pretty well from what I can tell. We had a pretty dry summer, but we had really good rain right at the beginning of August. We got about 5 inches within 10 days. And that was perfect for the soybeans because that's when they're filling the pods out. A lot of pods on the plant and big soybeans. So that was encouraging to see this year. They got their elevator rolling again, so I got that bin unloaded. He's gonna need that soon. And the grain cart's already full again. They're hauling that truck over too that we filled up. Okay guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Just hauling some more grain into the elevator now. Trying to keep up with the combine. Probably finish up soybeans next week then. Alright, thanks for watching guys. We'll see you in the next one.